Good afternoon, graduate roses. Mr. Canales here. It is Monday, June 22nd. Cannot believe how quickly the summer is flying by at this point, and I imagine for you, getting ready to make the transition to college, you might be kind of anxious. You might be a little freaked out at this point. In fact, for a lot of you, you've been emailing me and you're telling me now that plans are changing, which I imagine is probably making you and possibly your family very nervous. Just know that I'm here to support you through any of those changes. You know, at the beginning of the year, we made sure that you applied to more than just your dream school. We made sure that you got into more than just your #1 school. And we did that because I'm old enough to know that sometimes things change. There's a really popular saying that goes a little something like this. Life is what happens when you are busy making plans. I've received emails, as I said, and they go a little something like this. Well, Mr. Canales, I thought I was going to be going here, but this happened. Or, Mr. Canales, I thought I was going to be going here, but I didn't end up getting enough financial aid, or I haven't heard from financial aid at all. But this is why, as I said at the beginning of the year, we're going to apply to more than one school. We're going to get you into more than one school, and we're going to do the entire process for more than one school so that you can have some options. Now, if your plans have changed, there are some things that you need to immediately do. Number one, you need to make sure that your FAFSA information has been sent to that school. Now, if this was your backup school, your #2 school, your #3 school, chances are we already sent your FAFSA information to them, and they might have already sent you a preliminary financial aid package, and all you would need to do is go online and accept the grants and the loans and whatever you needed to do to make sure that you could transition there in the fall. If your backup school was not a school that we ever applied to, you need to make sure that you're doing everything that we did for all those other schools now in a very abbreviated amount of time. You need to make sure that your FAFSA has been sent to them. If this school is not one of the ones that was on your list at the beginning and you're going to need to live on campus, you need to make sure that you are applying for housing ASAP, like yesterday. Students have been applying for housing for a long time. You know this because we started applying in late January and February, depending on where you were applying. So housing is going to be at a premium. And so if you are looking at going to a backup school that's out of town and you were going to need housing, you need to focus on that immediately as you are focusing on your financial aid. And then lastly, I want you to already look at the requirements to transfer out of that school and into your #1 school. Now, sometimes there will be GPA requirements, sometimes there will be hourly requirements, and sometimes, depending on what you want to major in, there may be course prerequisites that you would need to have before you transfer in. So you need to make the decision of what's going to be the best strategic option for you to transfer into that school. Transferring in can sometimes be easier than applying as a freshman. Depending on the number of hours you have, you may not have to send SAT scores or ACT scores. You may not have to worry about a rank in class, which will benefit some of you. Now, on the flip side, sometimes you can apply as early as when you're technically still a freshman, and if that's the case, they would need a high school transcript, test scores. Just because you're starting out at backup university does not mean you will not graduate from the University of Awesome that you have always wanted to apply to, get into, and graduate from. You know, do what you have to do to make sure that this transition goes as smoothly as possible. And if you look at transferring out after a year, just know that I'm here to help you out. You need to make sure you're communicating with me. You need to communicate with your advisor at the school that you're starting at. You need to communicate with the admissions officer at the school you're planning on transferring to. Remember, as I've always said, there's no one right way to reach your goals, and there's no one path towards making a dream come true. As long as you're always working towards continual improvement, you're never going to fail. So if you can kind of wrap your head around that now, you'll be in a much better place. You'll be a happier person in general. And just remember, you are a rose of the YWCPA. You are a warrior of life, and everything that you want to happen in your life will happen. Will the path be easy? Maybe not, but you will get there as long as you continue to work towards it. So if you need any help, please email me. You know where my office is. Stop by, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.